Hello, welcome back to Ayumu's Spear Seminar, and this is finally the long-awaited, I suppose, edited and commentated version of the Wolverhampton finals for the Battlespeed Saga Grand Tour. Last month, more than last month actually. I think I can't remember. Whatever. Anyway, yeah. So just to clarify, this is not an official commentary. This is simply just a guy sitting in his own room with some very crappy devices to record a solo commentary for the game, hoping that it will help the new players, especially, to understand what is going on in the games. Apologies if I don't actually sound that exciting. I mean, to be fair, I already knew the results. I mean, probably most of us already knew the results. They're probably watching this video to see how the two players, Harry and Thomas, actually played rather than, like getting the excitement of trying to see who wins at the end. And then also, unfortunately for myself, I actually attempted a recording the night before the current one, but my devices just love to screw around with me, and then my audio file didn't come out very good, so I have to record again, and that also means I spoil myself to what happened in the games. But hopefully that also means I can provide I guess better analysis on what is going on, because like the recording from yesterday is like kind of sounds like me just like guessing more on like what they're trying to do than like being confident on what they're actually doing. So I would like to skip ahead the deck reviews, but I suppose we can just briefly look through them very quickly, just so you know what to expect, like what they're playing and etc. stuff like that. So it should be on the screens now. So we got Harry's list. Well, I mean, to be fair, both of them are Era's list, but like there are some slight differences in between Harry's list and Thomas's list. With Harry's list, he's actually playing 4 Era, which is, to be fair, in my opinion, quite a lot of copies, especially since you don't really want to get Era in early games, and really isn't a point, at least in my experience, that of summoning Era multiple times, because you don't really need the double symbol beatdown, since you can just do so with the other spirits. So, but it is an interesting choice, and I think it will prove later on that like having 4 copies of Era can be pretty useful, especially in mirror games. Like if you look at the side deck as well, you can see that Harry has definitely put the mirror games in mind, and so like a lot of the cards choices here, I think, is also prepared to deal with the mirror games. I think the other things that are worth pointing out is like definitely the 1 copy of Nebula Dragon. Can be very good in some situations, especially during the Swiss rounds, to surprise the opponent, because like they will probably only expect the only double symbol spirit being Era, but then like just slap down Nebula Dragon and say, hey, there's another double symbol, you need to get rid of it. You can probably get some surprising wins out of that. And then also the 1 copy of Bacillus is not very surprising, always one of the best cards to combo with Nova, especially before set 4. You still got Enterprise running around, so Bacillus is there to level down the Enterprise, just so to remove all the red armors from the other spirits as well, and then like Nova can just like wipe them off. And I suppose like it's being used for the same case over here, but like obviously besides that, you can just level down the other spirits in general, so Nova can have a bigger destruction range. So there's that. And then also 1 copy of Scotch Battlefield. I think it's very interesting, because I think you want Scotch Battlefield early on, but I suppose like the 1 copy there is really just for Harry to replenish his hand when he's actually getting a little bit low. Yeah, you don't really need 2 copies or more, I guess, because rarely there anytime that you can level up like 2 copies or more of the battlefield, and then like hit the life as well, and then like draw 2 or more, etc., stuff like that. And you don't actually need the BP boost from the level 1 effect as well, because Nova himself can already reach 12,000 BP, and then Era, at level 3, that's 23,000. You don't need more BP than that, I guess. And then also 1 copy of Imperial Forest for a little bit of recursion. Not a surprising choice, considering that in the sideboard he's also playing Deadly Balance and Nemesis. So I think besides for the recursion effect, it's also to deal with Hydra, because like, having 1 purple symbol on the field enables to use Deadly Balance even if the Hydra player has Seabed Lighthouse on the field. And then 2 Big Bang Energy is not exactly an unexpected choice, but you would think that like, people might not run it, considering that Grey is already a thing. But I've discussed with some Era players before, and they say that like Big Bang Energy is still very useful, because with Grey, it only enables the next spirit with Ascent to reduce its cost, but with Big Bang Energy it literally reduces the cost for all Star Dragons for the turn. And also it doesn't require the soul core, so that means you can still use it even after you heal your life back with Nova. It means that you're banishing the soul core. So that's why the Big Bang Energy is still in the list. And I've seen some amazing plays from using Big Bang Energy. Like there's sometimes these turns where like people just play Big Bang Energy, summon Andromeda, and then summon Nova, and then stack an Era on top to blow up the field, and then stack another Nova on top to get the life back, etc. It was pretty crazy. And then the rest are just like really standard rest stuff. Well, I mean, there's also the Dream Bomb, but and the Ice Shield, but we all know why they're there. So yeah, so let's move on to Thomas' list. I will come back to the sideboard later, probably after game 1. Thomas' list is it's also very interesting in its own ways. And then now that I look at it, it's actually surprising that Harry didn't run any Tricero. You would think that you might want the anti-bounce, but I suppose also maybe not. I guess it depends on playstyle, but like Thomas does run the Tricero in his list for the anti-bounce, and then also in the early game, the level 3 Confront can be very useful as well. He also runs Meteor Seedworm to make sure that he has enough Seedworm targets for Nova to heal, and also because Seedworm at level 2 can draw you cards, and at level 3 gets Confront as well. And then there's also the Duck Swarm, just another really high cost Star Dragon for as an ascent target. And I suppose the summon effect can also come in handy at times, especially since when you have 3 lives or less, Dust Swarm effects allows it to permanently fulfills all its reductions when you summon it. So that's like a free cost, very big spirit, and also destroy 5k or less. I think the interesting part for Thomas's list is that he's only running 4 Necessus, and that's 4 Canyon. As the main purple player, I can't comprehend that. Because with purple you would want at least 8 Necessus, because that's how much the color relies on the Necessus to function. So it's pretty surprising that he's only running 4 Canyons in the list. And there's also the fact that his list is not particularly low cost either. Like you have Rubius as the cost 0, and then the next lowest cost card is Blazing Ball, which is 4-1 as well. And Blazing Ball is not something that you want to summon in the early game as well. So Thomas is definitely going for slower play here, I believe. And probably like his tactic is also at the starting hand, if you don't see a Canyon, you gotta mow. I think that's how he plays out. Again, the rest are like very standard, practically like the same choices as Harry's. I mean, they're both playing Era. You can't really expect too many differences in there anyway. Again, we'll return to the sideboard later after game 1. So first, let's get into the games. So in game 1, Harry decide to mulligan. Well, both players actually decide to mulligan, and then I believe, from my memory, Harry is going first. So if we just wait for them to shuffle first. Oh no, wait, Thomas is going first, and then he plays down the Canyon. Very lucky of him, because I believe that's his top top card, isn't it? And then Harry plays down Canyon as well. I put the video at 2x speed, so there might be things I missed out just because of like how quickly things move on. But then even at 2x speed, the video lasts for 40 minutes, which is pretty insane. You will see later like how long they're actually thinking. Because especially since like there isn't a time limit for the final round. And then now Thomas play a nation draw, draw 2, open 3, no send cards to add. And then he has to end his turn there because he only has 1 call. Well, after setting a burst, I guess. So it's heavy turns as well. Drop another Canyon. And then he's probably gonna play another Asian draw if I remember. Yep. Okay, but Harry does get an era, so I suppose just looking at hand advantages, like Harry is definitely on the lead here, but obviously it's still the early game, we can't really say much here. Thomas dropped a Nova from the Canyon, makes sense because you can't really use Nova in the early games, especially since when you're at 5 lives, you can't even use Prepare Energy to try to cheat it out, and then summons a Tricera and attack. And Harry took a life. So in an era mirror game, I've discussed with my friends before, your aim is to push your opponent to summon the Nova first and then use the Nova's life heal, because after that then you know how many lives they actually have left, and then like you can try to control the game from that. And so over here Harry summoned Andromeda and blew Thomas's Canyon and then attacked with it. And Thomas activated Starblast Draw, which kind of compensate the value the Canyons will bring him later. So that is a pretty good move. When you're facing red, I think in the early games you can always set down a Starblast Draw because you know somehow that, especially if they have a good hand, the Andromeda is gonna come out sooner or later. So you're practically guaranteed to approach your Starblast Draw if you have a very useful Nessus that like the opponent has to get rid of it. So Thomas is thinking really hard here. He summons a Grave without paying the Soul Core, so that he doesn't activate any summon effect from there, and then he just starts swinging again. So like he really just try to get Harry's down to 2 lives, and then makes Harry to summon his Nova first, and then again, as I said, to heal back to 5. And then after that, Thomas knows how to control the game from there. So Harry summoned Rubius for some cost reductions, and then also Rubius at level 2 also gives him another draw, so there's a 1-for-1, so there's a blocker and a draw as well. But then he decided to summon Era here to try to get ahead of the game as well, especially since he's at 2 lives already. But Thomas brought another Starblast Draw there, so he's not exactly losing anything, but also Thomas now has an empty board, so it's pretty hard for him to get back on his track. But Harry decided not to swing there because it wouldn't have enough cause to use his Starblast Draw, not Starblast Draw, I mean Ice Shield as well. So he ended the turn, and that was Thomas' chance to use the Deadly Balance. And then so Thomas summoned a Rubius and then put down another Canyon and then swing Rubius, Harry down to 1 life, so that now he's forced to use Nova here. So he dropped another Canyon with the Canyon effect, summon another Rubius, 4 copies of Rubius in both players' stacks, so I'm not surprising that you see a lot of chicken. And then he's counting his calls. I never really like core cards. I think they're pretty annoying to count. Pretty annoying to use as well. They're just like big clunky cards. So pay 2 with the Soul Core for Big Bang Energy, and then summon Andromeda to block the Canyon again, pull Canyon. So yeah, so the benefits of using the Soul Core here is because Novas will send the Soul Core to the void anyway. So that you might as well use the Soul Core here, so that you won't have 1 less core to use. So it's something that you always have to remember as a Nova player, and I've seen a lot of people always making the misplay of not using the Soul Core, especially since right now all the Star Dragons basically at 0 cost. So like after using Big Bang Energy, you practically have no chances to use the Soul Core, to put the Soul Core to trash as well. And now Harry has summoned the Nova Saga rare version as well to heal back to 5, and then he just starts filling up his board to make sure he has a good enough defense, and then also like putting enough pressure to Thomas so that Thomas would have to use his Nova as well. But Thomas has a burst set, and since he didn't activate it when Harry used auto summon effects, it's pretty obvious that it's an Ice Shield. So Thomas might not be in a rush to use Nova yet. He can just spend all his Ice Shield first. Not the most ideal choice, but I suppose that is a way. But like, he used the Ice Shield here. He's down at 2 lives because Harry attacked with Era, so he has to use the Nova here, or else if he can't find any ways to remove Harry's Era, he is in a very vulnerable position. Even if he does remove the Era, considering that Harry does play Blazing Ball, it's very easy for Harry to just bring out the double symbol Era again. Or, you know, on the other hand, Nebula Dragon also works. Actually, no, Harry used the Soul already. What am I talking about? Okay, so yep, that's the Nova champion version as well. That is some big flex right there. I would never use my champion Nova. It's just sitting on my shelf. And so Thomas attacked with Nova to destroy Harry's Nova, which makes sense. Like, some of you might question, why not destroy the Era? Actually, no, you can't destroy the Era anyway. But even if you can, I think Nova's constant destruction every turn is more disruptive than like just having a double swing swinging at you. So like, it makes sense to destroy the Nova there. At this point, I'm just blabbering, ain't I? Another Star Blast. Harry's digging for something. Impale Forest, interesting. Another Rubius. Set down another burst. And then I believe he'll want to start swinging here. So he's swinging with Ira first, because Thomas has enough cause to do something anyway. Well, actually, one call off for Dream Bomb. So like, unless Thomas is willing to self-destroy his Nova here, he would have to take the life here. So it makes sense that you swing the Era first instead of Rubius, because swinging with Rubius gives him 1 extra call to use the Dream Bomb without removing the Nova. And now he's swinging with Rubius. It also, what's the word? Kind of avoid Thomas from using Dream Bomb as well, because you don't really want to use Dream Bomb on 0 cost. But Thomas has to think here. He either has to use Dream Bomb to bounce the Rubius so that he doesn't spend the Ice Shield, or he has spent the Ice Shield here, because yep, he has to use the Ice Shield here because you can't stay at 2 lives. So he chose to use the Ice Shield there, which is well, personally I would use the Dream Bomb, but again, I suppose bouncing 0 cost doesn't really help. So Thomas set down another burst. Pretty sure it's an Ice Shield. And then he has to think what to do next. Compared to Harry's board, it's a lot harder for Thomas to try to set up. But he did use the Big Bang Energy to summon Era, just to get a double symbol out really. Especially since there's nothing worthy for Nova to destroy as well. So he might as well summon Era, and then just to try to push Harry's life further on. But Harry used the Dream Bomb to bounce the Era, and then Thomas took the chance again to use the Deadly Balance to destroy the Era, because it's the only spirit on Harry's board. So Harry summoned a Blazing Ball to take back the Era. A very normal play for an Era deck, and then he got his 1 copy of Scotch Battlefield, and the event promo as well, very nice. Both players are just flexing their prices from early on. And then, yep, just summon the Era on the Blazing Ball so that he doesn't proc the summon effect, and then just swing the Era to push. But Thomas does have the Dream Bomb, so that's a 1 more turn delayed for Thomas. And now he has to make sure that he's going to make Harry to use the same amount of Ice Shield, or even more, like preferably more than Thomas does, to get ahead of the game. But no, it does look like he is breaking a little bit, because he has to use Asian Draw at 5 costs, which is not ideal. Not ideal. Like, so that's why I'm very surprised that he's only playing 4 canyons, because I do think with a Star Dragon deck, especially with so many high cost cards, you kind of want some consistent reductions on the board. But he did get a Rubius out here. He probably just drew from that. And then another Big Bang Energy to summon Dustworm. And then another Era. Yeah. So they're just saying that Era has to pay 1 cost because it's Big Bang Energy made a 3 cost, and then he only has 2 symbols. Yep. And then ascend onto Dustworm, destroy his own Rubius to draw 2 in total, and then like pushing the Ice Shield off from Harry. Alright, okay, so what they were saying is that Harry did use the Imperial Force effect, but he was doing too quickly, so basically what he did was that he discarded the top card. It was a spirit card, and they just put it back to top, but he did it really quickly that I couldn't actually see what he put back to the top, but I mean, I guess we'll know later on. So paying 3 for another Blazing Ball to take back another Blazing Ball. This is actually a pretty interesting play, but like I've seen some players done that as well, because right now is the Ice Shield race. Like you're pushing the opponent to use the Ice Shield earlier than you do. So you use Blazing Ball to take back another Blazing Ball, so that you have just like an extra body to make another attack. And then he summoned Backlist to level down the Era, so he can summon Nova and then blow Era up. Set down another burst, that's probably another Ice Shield. Swing the Nova, blow up Era. And then if Thomas has no responses, then he has to use the Ice Shield here. Well, he wouldn't have enough cause to respond to both Blazing Ball and Nova anyway, unless like the 2 cards in his hand are like deadly bad, like both of them are deadly balance or something like that. So yeah, he probably has to use the Ice Shield here. It's not looking very good for Thomas, especially since he only has 3 cards in hand, while Harry, like you can see, like he has kind of like a small stack of hand. So Harry is in a relatively comfortable position here, because he knows there are a lot more things he could do than Thomas would be able to do. So Thomas is probably contemplating if he want to use a flash effect from hand, or he just want to block the Ice Shield. He's just gonna take the life and not do anything, and then proc the Ice Shield with Blazing Ball's attack. So probably what he was trying to do is he's baiting Harry to make a full attack, so he doesn't have any blockers. And so after that, it would be Thomas's turn to probably make a full attack. Only 4 cards in hand. Or is it 5? 3, 4, 5 cards in hand. There's not a lot of choices that Thomas can do. Yep, and then that's game 1. So let's pause a little bit here, and then let's look back to the deck list. So we can think about what kind of cards that both Harry and Thomas will side into their own decks. So looking at Harry's list first, he has a pretty interesting sideboard, and as I mentioned in the beginning, his sideboard is also catered to the mirror games against Era. So that's why you can see the 1 copy of Heavy Barrel, and then also 1 copy of Nemesis. So I think in this case, he might want to put in 2 Deadly Balance, 1 Heavy Barrel, 1 Imperial Force, and then 1 Nemesis. So 4 cards in, and then if any, he can probably remove the magics that do the Nexus destruction. So like the 3 Feral Slash and then the 1 Burning Force. I think he can just remove those 4, because he knows that well, since it's an open deck list, he knows that Thomas only has 4 Canyon, and that should be enough for 4 Andromeda to handle it, especially since he also has Blazing Ball to loop back the Andromeda, and then obviously, you know, you also have Imperial Force to do the same. So I think he will probably add the Deadly Balance in there, like just for more options to destroy the Era, and then Heavy Barrel, you know, just to stand on the field, so that like if Era is going to blow up your own board, then like he has to return his Era to the bottom as well. Another copy of Imperial Forest to make sure that he has the purple symbols to summon Nemesis and also backlist, and also that means if Thomas destroy his Imperial Forest, there's still another copy to keep it going. And then Nemesis probably just to deal with Era, because at level 2, you know, if Era destroys the whole board, then like they're also forced to destroy their own Era. And then obviously at level 1, there's still some more draw resources, and then like the 2 core shoots can also be pretty useful in this matchup, because obviously with red, it all focuses on BP destruction, but you know, a lot of the red cards now are very high BP, so most of the time, besides Nova, you can, like, all your other BP destruction effects are just useless against the other red decks. So some core shoot effect from Nemesis will probably help as well. And then now we look at Thomas's list. I believe he might side in 2 Counter Sword, 2 Dream Bomb, and then that's it. I don't even think you need 3 Burning Force. 3 Burning Force in there. But what to remove is a very good question. Honestly, I'm not sure. Personally, I would remove maybe like 1 to 2 copies of Meteor Seekworm, and then maybe -1 Big Bang Energy, and then -1 Gray as well. But I suppose like you can also argue that you don't want less spirits. So on the other hand, he can literally just stack the 4 cards on top and then just make it 54 cards. But we will see, So if we go back to the game here, so Thomas decided to mow. So Harry decided to keep, and he went first. And then he like put down a Canyon, and then Thomas also put down another Canyon. A very good start for both of them. And then Thomas also set down a burst. Yeah, so Canyon I think is a very major card for the red list, just because it really helps to enable the deck to start moving. So he dropped the Andromeda with Canyon, and then summoned Blazing Ball to get back the Andromeda. So technically he didn't really lose anything there. Like it's I don't know. I suppose like it's also like a warning to Thomas that's like, hey, I have an Andromeda in hand, so like you better not attack, or else I'm gonna blow up your Canyon again. So like I suppose like the hint actually worked for Thomas, so that's why I didn't attack with Andromeda here. Well, to be fair, it also means that to leave Andromeda standing, it means if Harry wants to attack, he needs to level up Blazing Ball level 3, which takes up 4 cores, and that means he wouldn't be able to do anything else. So instead, right here, Harry decided to just summon the Andromeda and remove the Blazing Ball. But of course, Thomas has Star Blast draw set down. As I said, if they're playing Andromeda, you're guaranteed to proc your Star Blast like in the first 3 turns or something like that. And then Harry swings with Andromeda just to see what Thomas would do, and then Thomas decided that they should trade. Makes sense, because Thomas is already 1 life behind, and he doesn't want the Andromeda to be kept on the field as well. I mean, Harry's Andromeda. And then now he summoned Triceratops and swing, set down another burst as well. Probably an Ice Shield in this case, because it already goes into the range where Harry can just throw out an Era if he wants to, or you know, on the other hand, a Nebula Dragon also works. Harry also has enough low cost spirits that like he can maybe just make like 2 or 3 swings in this turn, but it seems like Harry's is either breaking a little bit or he's trying to play safe here, so he only summons 1 Dino Man and then he swings, because obviously Triceratops has Confront, so he just and Dino Man doesn't have high BP, so he don't want to leave Dino Man standing there and just get confronted by Triceratops. So Thomas summoned Rubius for some more reductions, and then a draw as well. And then summon a Meteor Seedworm to get some more draws. Yep. Harry can't really do anything here because it only has 5 cores. So you at this stage of the game, you don't want to use Dream Bomb already, especially since it means losing Dino Man. So he kind of has to take the life there. Thomas decides to take the chance and just keep pushing. And yep, and it has to end the turn there because remember, Rubius at level 1 cannot attack. So in Harry's turn, he is in a vulnerable situation now, because it means that Thomas can just summon an Era to end the game. But I assume that, actually no, it can still be a Star Blast draw, but well, it also means that Harry right now has to summon a Nova to heal back, which he's going to do, I believe. So he summoned a Great first, paying with the Soul Core to reduce the cost. Oh right, that's a counter sword. So Thomas has delayed one more turn before Harry can summon the Nova or Era. So Harry has to play carefully here. And he definitely has to save some cores, because if Thomas is going to bring down Era, he needs to have enough cores to use the Dream Bomb or Deadly Balance. Yes, like 6 cores, so just enough for 2 Deadly Balance as well. It's a very low chance, but it's still something that Thomas also still has to consider. So he decided to swing with Dino Man again, just to avoid getting confronted. And also just to keep pushing, because he knows if Thomas sends down Era, then Dino Man, a refreshed Dino Man is not going to help anyway. So Thomas decided to block with Rubius because he doesn't want to go down to 2 lives, especially since he doesn't have to take the life here as well. And of course, he has a nice shield in hand, so he want to keep at 3 lives so he can use the Ice Shield. Yeah, like this video is at 2 times speed already, and like they're still thinking for so long. You can imagine how long they were actually thinking in real time. Looks like Thomas is in a little bit of pinch here. So because Harry also only has 1 Dino Man on the field, it also makes Thomas to think whether he actually want to summon Era here, because obviously Era is very high cost for him at the moment, and it also means he has to blow up his own spirits. So if Harry has a response, he practically just wasted 1 turn there, and it also means he wouldn't be able to use Ice Shield in the next turn because he would have used all the cores for Era. So he decided to put down a Canyon and then use Asian Draw. Unfortunately, nothing to add to hand, and then also 3 very crucial magic to the bottom deck as well. This is not looking good for Thomas. And then he has 3 more cores to use. He's not moving the cores on Meteor Seedworm, probably means that he want to attack to get some more draws. He used another Asian Draw and then another Whiff again. So just only drawing 2. And then now he attacks with Meteor Seedworm to get 1 draw. So Harry decided to Dream Bomb the Tricero, because he knows that if Tricero attacks, then like he cannot bounce any of them. So he decided to Dream Bomb the Tricero here, so he can save probably the Ice Shield in the burst area. And now he summoned Grey with the Soul Core, no burst from Thomas, which probably means it's an Ice Shield. Well, I mean, to be fair, we saw him set down the Ice Shield. And then Harry summoned the Nova to get his lives back to 5. And then now he swings with Nova to destroy the Meteor Seedworm. Thomas can't do anything here because I don't think he should really be using any magic anyway, because if Harry swings with Dino Man, then he still has to proc the Ice Shield. So there's no point to use another magic if it means he still has to use the Ice Shield. So it's probably best if he just uses the Ice Shield here and then just moves on to his own turn. One thing to point out is that it is very nice of Harry to lay out his trash like that so that Thomas can see what's in the trash. I mean, partly it's also because it's also for Harry himself to know what's in the trash, but you might see later on, it's partly also because it's also partly for Thomas to see what's in there. So it's very nice of him, very good sportsmanship there. I mean, if I sound like I'm saying nonsense, then well, I guess you can laugh at me. Hey, I'm just trying to portray Harry as a good person, okay? I'm just gonna say some random bull craps so I can make the Nexus boys to comment on my video. So Thomas summoned a Blazing Ball, thinking what to take back. Probably, Meteor Seed Worm. I thought he might take back the Nova. Hey, I mean, as I said, I did watch the video yesterday, but like my memories are not very good, so like I basically don't bother to remember anything that happens in the games. And then he set down another burst, summoned the Meteor Seed Worm, just attack to draw 1. So Thomas is in a slightly better position here, just so, again, as I said before, he made Harry to summon the Nova first, so he has more control in like how the game direction will go, because he knows Harry cannot heal back anymore. But on the other hand, Harry will have to think how many resources he would have to make Thomas to spend before Thomas actually used the Nova to heal back to 5. So he summoned a Nemesis, the World Champion version as well. Well, the World Championship, not the World Champion version. And then he attacked with Nova to destroy both of Thomas's spirits. So Harry's is also in a very safe position here, because it means that if Thomas wants to summon Era, that's basically delaying for 1 turn only, because Nemesis will also blow up the Era. And on the other hand, if he keeps Nemesis standing, then Thomas also can't just casually attack with Nova, because it means that if Harry blocks with Nemesis, he might also get to blow up the Nova as well. It forces Thomas to play with at least 2 spirits on the field. But right here, Harry decided to swing with Nemesis, blow up the Dino Man to just draw 2. Probably because he's also taking for more cards, and he knows that there really isn't any point to proc the Ice Shield here. There are plenty of ways to avoid that later on, so he might as well attack with Nemesis to gain more value from it. So he summoned a Meteor Seed Worm by paying the Soul Core, and it has to pay 6 cores to summon the Nova, which actually really hurts. So he heals back to 5, and then he has to swing here to blow up Harry's Nova, or else his own Nova will get blown up in Harry's turn. Especially since Thomas also have the cores, he can just safely swing here. At most, it just means he has to sacrifice an Ice Shield next turn, but that's not too big of a problem. That's how you play the game anyway. So yep, he does attack with Nova. He's thinking what to destroy. Oh, he actually chose to destroy Nemesis here. Makes sense, because it means that it enables Era for next turn, especially since Thomas knows that Harry only has 1 copy of Nemesis, and he doesn't have any Imperial Force on the field, so he can't bring Nemesis back for next turn as well. So Harry swings with Andromeda, takes a life and draw 1 from Scorched Battlefield, swing with Nova, take a life, draw 1 from Scorched Battlefield, and pass. So there's a Dust Worm, probably to be an ascent target for Era. I mean, I said probably, but what I mean is that he is going to do that. I just remember someone and forget about some parts of the game. Yep, so he summons the Era, blow up the Nova, get to draw 1 card, and then and then he should just start swinging here. Since Harry is at 4 lives and he can't heal back anymore, he either has to make a response from hand or he has to proc the Ice Shield, which either way works for Thomas, because this is now, like, since both players have healed back already, this is now just a game of who's like to make the opponent to use their resources more quickly. But yeah, so Harry used the Dream Bomb there, saving his Ice Shield. He puts down the Canyon, just trying to settle his field now. Draw 2 Star Blast draw. And then there's a Rubius. There's the Nebula Dragon. Unfortunately, very useless now, but hey, still one more attacker there. And then he puts up Scorch Battlefield to level 2 just so he can keep storing. So I suppose Scorch Battlefield, the 1 copy is also for the mirror games, because like you know that they will heal with Nova, so you have some extra lives to draw with Scorch Battlefield as well. And then Harry's probably counting his Ice Shield there. So Thomas set down another burst, probably another Ice Shield, no surprise. Summon Andromeda to blow up the Canyon. Makes sense, because technically you can avoid Harry from drawing with Scorch Battlefield, but you can't avoid him from filtering your Canyon. So I think it is a very good choice to destroy the Canyon there instead of the Scorch Battlefield. And now he swings with Era again, and we'll have to see if Harry has another Dream Bomb, which he doesn't, so he has to use the Ice Shield there, down to 3 lives. So both sides are like now pretty much on like somehow an equal state. So right now the best play for Harry is that he would have to summon a 1 symbol spirit and then summon an Era without blowing up his own board. And then he would have to swing with Era. Actually, no, does it? Yeah, he will want to summon another spirit to avoid the deadly balance. And then let's swing with Era first to bring Thomas down to 1 life. Or on the other hand, he can also swing with the 1 symbol spirit first to make Thomas proc the Ice Shield while self-destroying his Era. So there are lots of plays in this turn, and it will depends on what Harry has in his hand. So now he used Big Bang Energy to start spamming his board. There's Andromeda. A Nation draw, okay. Nothing add to hand. It actually hurts because that's 1 Ice Shield, 1 deadly balance to the bottom. I can't see what's the 3rd card, but you know, just 1 Ice Shield, 1 deadly balance really hurts. Another Asian draw. Still a whiff. And there's the Era to blow his own board. He probably tried to get a Blazing Ball, but unfortunately he didn't get one. So he would have to blow his own board there. But I suppose he's also taking for a Ice Shield because it's still not setting down any burst. So I suppose he actually needed a 1 draw there as well. A 3rd Asian draw, wow.
And another one.
Still a whiff, nothing. Well, I mean, probably because like he already got all the Eras and Novas to hand all the trash anyway. And then, but he managed to draw an Ice Shield, so now he can play safely now. Yeah. So this is the situation which I talked about. So he swing with Dino Man first to make him use the Ice Shield and self-destroy his Era. And then Harry also gets to draw 1 from Scorch Battlefield. So Harry is in a very good advantage right here. especially since Thomas' board is literally empty, not even with a burst set. So there are some things that Thomas can do, but it's still very hard for him to catch up in this state. Yep, unfortunately, the Dust Worm cannot destroy Dino Man because Dino Man is at level 3 right now, and it summons a Tricero. Star Blast draw 2. And set down another burst. Would that be Counter Sword? Because I knew I saw a Counter Sword in his hand. Yes, it just seems like that was a Counter Sword. So I put down a Canyon, swing with Tricero to confront the Era, because Era is only at 5k and Tricero is at 7k. And then he's probably thinking we wanna proc the Ice Shield there, but he chooses not to. He decided to keep Dustworm standing, so that he might be able to delay some turns. Well, that probably means that his burst is Counter Sword and not Ice Shield, because if it's Ice Shield, I would have just attacked and make Harry use the Ice Shield there. But that means the burst is Counter Sword. And he's probably hoping that Harry would have a summon effect, so he could bounce something to the top and then also heal 1 life back as well. Pay 4 for Andromeda. So Thomas was asking how many cores Harry could use, probably thinking we want to activate the Counter Sword here, because ideally he will want to return the Era back to the deck top, then Andromeda, and then good for Thomas, Harry actually did summon the Era, so now he activated the Counter Sword, bounced Era to top, and then get to heal 1 life back as well. So now Harry has to think what else he can do, because you gotta remember he also had to save 4 cores to be able to use Ice Shield. So he already has spent a lot of cores in this turn, so there's honestly not a lot that he could actually do here. So he decided to summon a Blazing Ball, probably to get another Blazing Ball back to hand. Oh no, just get an Nova back to hand, okay. 5 cores to use. Another Dino Man. And then probably just level up Scotch Battlefield here and then start attacking. Yep. So swings your Dino Man first, 7,000. Take 1 life, draw a card. Swings your Blazing Ball as well. Take 1 life, draw another card. So now Thomas is in a little bit of pinch here, because it does mean if Harry summons an Era, then he can't really defend against it now. So probably the best way for Thomas is that he has to summon his own Era here, and instead of attacking with Era, just keep it standing, because we know that Era cannot destroy, well, the other Eras. So he would have to use Era to block Harry's Era, and then probably use Ice Shield from hand. But that does mean a lot of cores, and it does look like Thomas doesn't really have the cores here. So he decided to just widen up his board, and just hope that Harry doesn't have any Era next turn. I suppose he's also hoping that Harry's burst is not an Ice Shield, but to be fair, we all know it's gonna be an Ice Shield. Yep, so he decided to destroy his own Dino Man to use the Ice Shield. Yep. So Harry has about 20 cores to use. Which is a lot, and it's also enough for him to widen up his board and just start attacking, especially since Thomas only has one card left, so maybe he doesn't even have to summon Era, just summon more spirits, enough to get through the wall of defense, but he summoned Backless to use as an extend target for Era, and then drew 6 cards from there, I believe. And then yep, the last card in hand for Thomas is Burning Force, so he lost it there, and Harry has won the final round and became the champion for Wolverhampton. This is also the end of this video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully that my commentary actually helps for a little bit. Well, if you like this video, well, the usual things, please subscribe, and also please comment down below, especially since it would be nice if you can give me some suggestions on how I can do better with the commentary, maybe how I can do better with the video editing as well, because honestly all the apps are just screwing me up so badly that it takes me so much effort to try to make a half decent thing out of YouTube. But yeah, so this is the end, and I'm Ayumu. Thanks for sitting for 40 minutes just to listen to me blabbering, and then I'll see you next time. Bye bye.